Hey guys, it's Santiago Espindola, product developer for FPVCrate, and in this video we're gonna go through the unboxing and the full build of this 3-inch limited edition 2019 FPVCrate Micro Quad. So stay around, we're gonna have some tips and tricks so you guys can build the exact same quad as we're gonna do today. Yeah, let's begin. Let's do the unboxing. So we get pretty much thank you card, sticker sheet, and coupon code. So thank you card, sticker sheet, and some coupon codes. Then we get this fancy bubble wrap. We get the Micro Racer BL32. Then the Lumenier F7 flight controller. We have a micro AXII straight MMCX antenna, this one. 3 sets of HQPROPs, 2.9 by 2.9. We get the Tarsier black, comes with an ND filter, and the hardware for the camera. We get some zip ties, XT30, and the screws. We get the Acrobrat Duo, that is the frame that we are gonna use. We get the mini rush tank with some wires and some screws. And finally, we get 4 T-motors, 1507, 3800 FPVCrate edition. So these are the 4 motors. Let's start building. So we're gonna use multiple tools for this build. Mainly, we're gonna use the 1.5 and 2.0 X drivers. We're gonna have an X-Acto knife, some wire strippers, some pliers, liquid flux that I use in my builds, this brush, some scissors, an electrical tape, soldering iron, and some solder. And these are the main tools we're gonna use for this build. Okay, so let's begin with the Acrobrat Duo. This time we're gonna use the bottom plate to start the build, so as the ESC and AXII. Also, we're gonna use the VTX, because all of these things are gonna make the main stack that we're gonna put in the center of the aircraft. Okay, so with the FC and the ESC, we get multiple hardware. We get screws that comes in different sizes, so 22 millimeter and 25 millimeter. For this main stack, we're gonna use the longest screw, that is the 25. We're gonna use some rubber grommets, 2 types of spacers. One is the long one and the other is the short one. And then we have some nuts. So to begin the build, what we are gonna have is 1 long screw and 1 rubber grommet. We're gonna insert the rubber grommet through the screw in this 4 square mounting 20 by 20 arrangement, like this. So this is how we can assure that the ESC won't touch the bottom of the frame, like this. We get some space in the bottom, so the ESC isn't sitting on the carbon frame. Then what we are gonna do is thin every pad of the ESC, and gently we're gonna apply some solder to the pads of the ESC, like this. The front of the ESC, and this is the back where the XT30 goes. So we just gently put it inside. It should go like this. Then we're gonna mount the motors, so we are sure that the wire we're using is long enough for it to go over here. For that reason, what I like to do is just to put a nut, so it just locks the ESC. It won't move when we are working on it. Let's continue with the motors. These are the motors we're getting. The T-motor 1507 FPVCrate edition. We're gonna work on the motors while the ESC is placed. We get 2 sets of screws with this motor, and we're gonna use the long screws to tie the screw onto the arm, even though we're gonna use just 3 because this frame just has 3 holes. In this case, we're gonna use the hex drive 1.5 to tie the motor onto the arm. We're gonna put it like this, and we're just gonna put a screw that goes through in this way. Slowly, because we don't want the motor to get any force. I'm gonna tighten the screw like this onto the second hole, and then let's do the third one like this. We don't want to tie them all too tight yet, since we have some work to do over here. Okay, so what I like to do is to put the wire into the arm like this, and then have the longest wire I'm gonna use and put it from down to up. So I'm gonna measure how long should it be, and then just make a mark with my tweezer so I know exactly where it should be, and then with my wire stripper I'm gonna cut it, and do this for all the 3 wires in the 4 motors. Let me thin this wire that I'm gonna use. This. That's it. Just apply a little bit of heat. You don't want to get too much heat into this part, and then just let the wire go through this part of the arm like this. It should look like this. What we're gonna do now is to do the same for all the pads. And fast forward, we have the motor with all the wires coming through the arm. So in this case, there's a tip I normally use, that is have some electrical tape, go over the wires with the arm so they won't move, and it will be cleaned. So like this, we're just fast forwarding into all the motors and ESC solder. We're mounting the ESC flipped, so it's supposed to be the other way, but this is the cleanest way. So what we're gonna do is that I'll leave us a dump that is just a code to put your motors in the good order. So motors are gonna be on the same order as Betaflight as the M2V. So if you're setting your quad just like me, if you use this dump, it will automatically work for the motor order. With the ESC ready and the motors ready, what we're going to do is gonna put the capacitor on top of it. So the line that says minus goes onto minus or negative. That it's supposed to be the right part. So it should be mounted like this, with this white portion to the right, same as this. So black on the right and red on the left. So for the cap, what I like to do is to put some double side sticky tape and just put it onto here. So we just know where to cut the wires of the cap. We'll have the exact measure we need for the cap. I'm gonna use a zip tie to lock down or secure this part of the capacitor. I don't want to tighten it too much. I just need it to be locked in place. So let's cut the excess of this zip tie. we're good to go. With the soldering of this capacitor, I'll also use this zip tie to run the wires for the AXII in this position. Just make a perfect joint between all of these things. Let's use a little bit of extra solder. Let's use a little bit and just start putting it all nicely together. A little bit more solder so the wire of the cap just gets in. Just like this, you can see we have a good solder joint between the wire and the cap. Okay, so just like this, we just remove the nuts. We're gonna place the long spacers on top of the ESC because we're gonna mount the FC. So let's place all of them. On the front of the FC, it's the part that says Lumenier Mini F7, and we're gonna just plug this wire into this connector, make sure it gets all the way into the connector, and do the same with the ESC. Just make it fit all the way through. What I like to do is just keep a little bit of wire in the front and wire in the back, so not all the wire gets in the bottom, well, in the middle of the FC and the ESC. Okay, next up in the build is to put the VTX and the camera connections. So this is the camera we're gonna use. This is the Tarsier 4K. This one comes with a plug in here that comes with multiple wires. We're gonna take out the hardware package that comes with the camera. In this package we can find mainly the wires. What we are going to do right now is that we're gonna trim this wire to put it in here to run through the camera that will go here at the front. Measure 2 inches, mostly 2 inches, 2 inches and a half, and then cut 3 wires, which are black, yellow and red, that will go into the pads. Signal should be the yellow one, ground the black one, and power is the red one. So what I will do is to take the tweezers and start with the ground. And that's it, nothing else. Then power, and then go with the camera cable. We should end up with 3 wires like this: signal, power and ground. And that's it for the camera connection. Okay, so with the VTX, it comes this antenna and these wires. We're not gonna use this antenna because we already have our AXII, which is way better than the dipole. We're gonna use these 4 cables. We're gonna use the first one, which is ground. Then we're gonna use voltage in, which is the red one. Then we're gonna use the smart audio, which is we're gonna use the white one for that one. And finally the video, that is gonna be yellow. So we are gonna end up with four different wires. We're gonna want to run the cables on top of the VTX. So in any case we need to do any fix, we just can like bend this VTX over, make some changes we need in the flight controller, and then put it back. So let's begin preparing the wires. So let's begin. Just thin it a little bit with solder. We do this for all the wires. Just apply a little bit of solder, and that's it. We're just gonna thin 4 of these pads. That is ground, power, smart audio, and video for the VTX. Wire these different wires onto the VTX, and then wire them onto the FC, and we should be good with the connection. So now we're gonna have to trim the wires a little bit. maybe just up to 1.5 inches. So we can put it on top of here with some spacers. Then let's put this. The thing I like about this FC with this ESC is that the order of the pads corresponds to the order of these pads or these wires, so it's pretty much the same, super easy to connect. This way we have ground, let's double check, ground to ground, DC in to power, small audio to small audio, video to video. And then we just want to have these short spacers, the ones that already came to in the kit, 4 of them, just put the VTX on top of it and finish it with some nuts. So the nice thing about this stack that we just put together is that this is just one screw coming all the way up. So this way we can just tighten these nuts, holding the nut, and then putting the X drive all the way to the bottom. We can just tighten it this way. So to mount the Tarsier, we are gonna use the driver 1.5. We're gonna use some hardware that comes in the package of the Tarsier, and we're gonna use the screws that are extras. Okay, so with the Tarsier, there are multiple screw lengths. We're gonna use the middle ones for putting the camera to the side plates. Everything else we won't use right now. Also, we will use these clear spacers. And in this plastic bag, as I showed you, there are some 16mm screws with some nuts that we will use to mount the camera to the bottom plate. So first, what we're gonna do is have the screw in the screwdriver, have one spacer, can be one in the front, put the spacer all the way in, take the camera and slowly start, let's put the screw a little bit down, and slowly start screwing this. Let's do the same without going all the way up. Just start doing the same with other spacer. Let's put all the spacer here. Let's start screwing. You can do it by hand. It's just this initial part. You can just have one of these nuts, put it on top of the screw, put the driver on the other end, and start screwing. When you feel the screw just got in, just do the next one. Okay, so another option, if you already mount the camera and you want to put the plug in, just unscrew the VTX, which is already soldered, and just have tweezers or your fingers, and you just can have the plug go into the connector like this. It's gonna be easy. You just push it a little bit. You can use your fingers. You're good to go. You already have the VTX, you already have the camera, motors, ESC. So last part of this build should just be put the side plates of the frame, and then put the the camera screws to the side plates and finish the build. We already have the Nano RX prepared. We have the Immortal T. We have a heat shrink that comes with the RX, and we have all these 4 wires prepped. Like all of those are tinned. And over here, all of these are soldered into these little pads. So what we're going to do next is just prepare which pads are we gonna use. We're gonna use the ground. We're gonna use 5 volts, TX4 and RX4. So let's make the wiring connections right now. And let's finish this setup with the yellow wire, which is gonna go to RX4. That's it. Okay, so in the package of the Acrobrat, we get multiple things. What we're gonna do first are the side plates, which which are these ones. There are multiple grommets in different colors. Each one represents a density. I'm gonna use the clear ones, which I find good for this kind of temperature, for the weather I'm in, which is kind of not so cold, not so warm. So for these ones, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna push them in with my fingers, because I don't wanna rip them off. I have had some of these bushings ripped with different tools, so I just push them in with a little bit of force and going sideways. That's it. That is pretty much how it would look. Both of them are in. Okay, after putting the grommets inside of the side plates, we will just put one side plate like this. We will screw with the 1.5 mil hex drive just one side of the camera. We're gonna tilt it all the way to the front, and we're gonna start screwing all the standoffs. So these green standoffs are the ones we're gonna have come in the kit. I think they really match the style of the frame and the color of the motors. When we do this, what we're gonna have is space to put missing things like the antenna, also the top plate, which also comes in this frame. So let's finish putting all these parts together. So all the standoffs should go in place. Super easy. Just put all the screws like this. Lift it up a little bit. All screws go in this, go inside like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 standoffs, which are the structure of the frame. Okay, so after finishing the build, we just screwed the other side plate to the frame to hold the top plate, and what we did is that we tied the antenna with a zip tie and tied the Immortal T with other zip ties over here. So it is a clean build already. We left the XT60 like this, so we can mount the battery on the top, and we will use this Velcro that comes in the kit. We will use this Omega Velcro that comes in the kit to mount the battery on this top plate with this holes that comes in it. This is how the quad would look like. This is a 3-inch quad, micro quad, perfect for freestyle, cinematic shots, or racing. We get an amazing stack. It's super clean, 4K camera. We get a perfect frame for carrying all the things we need. We get 1507 motors, which are smooth and powerful at the same time. 800 milliwatt VTX output with a perfect antenna. And yeah, be sure to check this out. I don't think there are many boxes left. Thank you guys again for tuning in for this video, and also check out the FPVCrate links below if you want to subscribe to this box, which has amazing products and great collaboration with new brands and popular FPV brands. So thank you again, guys, and happy flying!